Mr. Morelle?
Thank you, sir. And Director, thank you for being here. We had a chance to meet last year with the Anti-Gun Task Force. Appreciate your service. I want to just ask a question, if I can. The second volume of the ATF report evaluating firearms trafficking, released this past February, reported that from 2017 to 2021, nearly 35,000 firearms were stolen from federally licensed gun dealers. What resources do you need that are necessary to strengthen the oversight of gun dealers and prevent stolen guns from being trafficked in the illegal into the illegal market?
And this sort of follows Congressman's question. So first of all, let me be clear. We work with the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the industry on these cases. We offer rewards together with them on these cases. These are serious crimes. Nobody drives a car through the front window of a gun dealer and runs in and grabs 20 guns to go hunting, right? Those guns are going straight to the street. They're going to hurt people. So we first of all respond to every single one that we're notified about. Think about that. That's many a year where we get up in the middle of the night and respond, and those are victims. The other thing I want to point out is we do not, to be clear, if a firearms dealer is burglarized, even if they didn't have the alarm system we wish they had, or even if they didn't lock the guns up the way that we want, they do not get their license revoked automatically or are part of any sort of enhanced enforcement policy because of that. We try to work with them to suggest ways that they can harden the target. So a lot of what we do in our regulatory function, both with respect to burglaries and inspections, is working collaboratively with well-intentioned firearms dealers who are often our first line of defense in preventing firearms trafficking, to harden the target so that unscrupulous and criminal elements can't take advantage of them.
Well, but as I understand it, maybe you comment on this. The average inspection of gun dealers, gun stores, is dramatically higher than the amount of years it's supposed to be. And there are 35,000 guns stolen, so that means there's clearly not enough hardening of facilities, in my view. But what kind of resources could you use to be able to address this problem?
So the IOIs, the Industry Operations Investigators out there all over the country, there are only about 800 of them. The regulated community is depending on who you count and how you count and the applications, can be near 100,000, if not at 100,000. And so we just simply do not have the resources that we would need to do our job effectively, even on some reasonable cycle. And it's just a reality that we deal with at ATF, and we will continue to do our best with what we get to try and protect the American people. Because it's not about holding, well-meaning gun dealers, and playing gotcha with them. It's about finding the very few. And we under the program, we revoked, I think, under 0.1% of firearms dealers. It's very few. And it's about helping those others to do the best they can to harden that target for the criminal gun traffickers out there who may try to take advantage of them.
So you have 800 inspectors. I think the federal law calls for inspections every 7 years. My understanding is taking about 14 years in between inspections. So would a doubling of the number of agents allow the inspections to occur? And frankly, whether you're, I assume most people are doing the right thing, but I get my car inspected every year. That doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong, but it does require an inspection. Everyone in the state of New York has an inspection every year, I assume everywhere around the country. So in order to do these inspections, you need, well, perhaps not in Mr. Clyde's, you don't do inspections of vehicles in your state. Well, we do it in our state. So inspections are a necessary way of making sure that you're meeting standards. So what I'm asking is what resources would be necessary to meet that obligation?
Well, in the President's request has a significant number of increased resources for that function, and I think that would be a very, very important addition for us to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
The National Tracing Center allows law enforcement agencies to submit crime gun trace request to ATF for processing. I understand fewer than half of the nation's law enforcement agencies utilized the program in 2021. which undermines your ability, as I understand, to identify, investigate, and prosecute gun traffickers and other bad actors. Can you talk about the consequences of underutilization with respect to crime and solve rates?
So the number of raw traces is going up and up and up. So it was a 13% increase year over year. However, you are correct that about half of all law enforcement agencies don't use the free resource that we provide for them to trace their crime guns. And that doesn't just hurt our mission. Respectfully, this is why I talk to local police departments all over the country. It can hurt their ability to solve firearms crimes. Highland Park is a great example. The July 4th shooter, the New York subway shooter. Those were cases where, because we got urgent traces and turned them around quickly, we were able to help local law enforcement identify a killer before they killed again. And so these are things that really support state and local law enforcement functions. And I hope that we will come to a place where when a crime gun happens, when a murder happens, when a homicide happens, when a shooting happens, when a drug dealer gets caught with a gun, that when law enforcement sees that firearm, they'll understand that it's just like fingerprinting. You know, you wouldn't conduct the criminal investigation of the homicide without submitting the trace of the firearm, so that we can understand, more evidence about the case and help identify the killer.
Thank you, sir. I yield back.